Hello, everyone. Welcome back for another podcast. Andrea and myself back together again this morning. And today we're talking about medical aids. That's the reason why I'm speaking, is Andrea is the resident expert on the healthcare side of things. Andrea, what's happened with medical aids this year? The reviews have not been good. I think consumers are in for a bad time next year.
Yeah, thanks, Mo, and well done on the intro. But yeah, stick to the day job. I'll be back in my usual seat pretty soon because this is one of the only topics I think you could call me the expert on. But yeah, I'm sure everyone's seen or had received some news regarding their increases and the benefit changes and plans and everything for next year. And feedback I'm getting from my client base and people I've been chatting to when I'm out and about has been predominantly negative, which is not surprising considering what's been happening and what I've seen, having attended a few of the launches myself. Very high increases, way above inflation in most cases, above inflation in all cases, but way above in most of them.
What is the range? What has the range been?
Oh, the range goes anywhere from 7.8% to 17.9% in the medical aids we deal with. And even the ones on the lower end, I mean, I think even though that was a headline increase, it didn't tell the full story with regards to what's happening in that scheme, with regards to the benefit changes. But I mean, if you're taking what headline inflation is now, even the 7.8 is quite far above that.
Yeah. And why is this happening? And what is the pressure on medical aids at the moment?
Well, it's basically a perfect storm situation. So we're coming out of the whole COVID fiasco, which for the medical aids, it was a never before seen occurrence. So, a lot of them didn't know how to deal with it. A lot of the medical aids were then releasing increases that were on par with inflation, if not sub-inflation increases, because they weren't spending money. They had these huge reserves that were building up, and therefore they could, reduce their increases. Unfortunately, post-COVID, their spending came back in surplus. So they were spending, they were having to use more money than what they had planned for. Couple that with a very expensive dollar, so all the medication and parts, equipment and everything, machines that we import from overseas. Obviously, the increases there were steep due to the dollar price being what it is. And then a shortage of supply. I mean, it's no secret that we do lack an abundance of medical professionals, and especially on the specialist side, which is why specialists charge what they charge, because they're overly in demand. The medical aid do need to balance that out as well, which we find more co-payments coming in, a lesser increase in benefits in comparison to the premium, or an outright decrease in benefits, because the medical aids need to manage their pool of money so that everyone has access to it, can get their hands on some of it. So it is a perfect storm scenario, and it's just played out in the fact that this year we're seeing way above normal increases. But everyone needs to remember that we are coming off a low base because the increases being what they were during COVID, and it should flatten out going forward for the next 2 years. But it hurts to see that sort of increase come through.
And I think the biggest question is, so what can people do if medical aid is becoming unaffordable, and what shouldn't they do?
Well, look, the first thing they should do is make sure that they are on the right option. I come across it all the time, especially people that have gone direct to insurers to set themselves up on something. A lot of the time, because they're unaware of the entire spectrum of products or medical aids in the market, they find themselves on a generic type plan, which they think is a one size fits all, and it's really not. I mean, you should be on a plan that's catered to you, to your affordability, and to your family's needs. by getting on the right option, you're either going to curb what you're spending out of pocket, or you just be spending the correct premium for your needs. So that would be the main thing. What people shouldn't do is just back out completely and just drop their medical aid because it's overly expensive. Unfortunately, we are in a situation in this country where private hospital care is leagues above the public sector, and you don't want to find yourself in a situation where you want to go, or you find yourself in a private hospital without medical aid, or you have to go to a public facility. It's just it's not the end reward you want for living the life you live. And yeah, a lot of the time people think medical aids are a rip-off, they're just wasting their money and they jump off when they're unaware of the fact that there are actually options that they can look at which may be more suitable to them.
Yeah, and it leads to one of the final points is that as some of the alternatives that have come out is you're seeing a lot of the hospitals, doctors' practices, pharmacies bringing out these health insurance plans, and people are adopting them in place of a medical aid. And I mean, I don't know what you think, but given the premium of those things, it can't be at the same level.
100%. So those are products that are more complementary to medical aids than there are substitutes for them. And they definitely have their space and are very useful, especially with regards to the gap cover products. I'm a big advocate for them. Hospital insurance products have come a long way, but once again, it's made by design to be complementary to a medical aid and not a substitute for it. So people do need to be aware, and also just speak to professionals. Ask the question, get some advice before you go and make a rash decision. Because yeah, a lot of the time people think they're on a hospital insurance, they've got all the cover they need, and they could find themselves in a nasty situation if they aren't properly educated by it. And just as a disclaimer, I mean, I'm not smashing hospital insurance products. Like I said, they have a need. They fill a need, and they are great products. Just they are not a medical aid. They're two different things. So people need to educate themselves on them.
Cool. Well, thanks, Andre. I think that's a great interlude into medical aid season. When is the final point before we close off? What is the date for revisions this year for most of the medical aid?
Is this the final point?
This is the final point.
Post final point. Yeah, so all medical aids are open for changes now. So anyone looking to change their plan for January should be looking at it now. And the last medical aid that we deal with, their window will close. It's normally around about the 15th of December, 14th, 15th there. And that's what it is this year as well. So it's on that date that you'll be able to make your changes.
And a lot of them are actually earlier as well. So
a lot of them are earlier.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would just to be safe, by the end of November, you should have your plan changes in, just so that you've got that room for error.
Cool. Thanks, Andrea, and appreciate it. Until next week.
Thanks, Mo. Well hosted. Chat soon. Thanks everyone for watching. If you enjoyed the content, please don't forget to give us a thumbs up and to subscribe to the channel. Just a disclaimer, these are our thoughts and opinions and not to be misconstrued as advice. Cheers.